Yo, what is up everyone, it's Marsh, Forex here, or Dan, and I'm just going to be going over the trades, 2 shorts I took today that I sent into the group chat. I'm just going to go over my daily markups and basically the trades I took today, the same as usual. So let's get into it. So I took 2 trades today, one resulting in 9.8 or and one resulting in 13.8 or. So both these trades were both sells, and the overall market was bearish. So I'm just gonna hide this and hide this. Alright, so I'm gonna do replay and go to about here, right? So overall price. Yesterday we were talking about this as a buy zone. Now price did react off this somewhat, however, it came down, swept liquidity. Okay, so price, retail traders would have taken this as a double bottom. Price coming in, a lot of people would have came in here for buys, and a lot of people would have had sell stops below this. So when price came down, breakthrough, we've had a little retest of this area, and price would have continued to fall. That's why a lot of people have buy limits here, stop losses here, and sell stops here, and stop losses up here. So there's a lot of liquidity sitting behind this zone. And that's exactly what this is here. This would be considered as a liquidity grab. These are technically equal lows. So this is a perfect liquidity grab. Price comes up, nearly mitigates our zone. However, price continued to fall down. Now, price came down and initially closed below our zone. We also had a break of the liquidity zone as well, indicating that price has shifted bearish. We had a break of this higher high and this this higher low and this lower low. So this is a clear indication that price is continuing down. So let's just play price on a little bit on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so straight away, what am I looking for? I'm looking for an order block which caused this demand to become a supply. So this is a demand to supply zone, D2S. I'm marking up my charts. Straight away I'm going down to the 5-minute, 15-minute, from the 15-minute down to the 5-minute, and I'm looking for the order block which broke structure. Now this one is also a valid order block. Price came down, however it didn't break these lower lows in which price grabbed liquidity. It was this one here. So I marked this one out here on, I think it was the 3-minute or the 1-minute even. Yeah, so I marked this order block here out on the 1-minute. Price came down, formed another order block right here. Okay, so this tells me that price has shifted from bullish to bearish, and we have valid bearish order flow in play. We're creating higher, lower highs, lower lows. Okay, so there's one order block marked out, there's another order block marked out. Both broke previous structure and are continuing down to the downside basically. If we go to the 1-minute time frame, we can forget about all this now. Price broke structure. We don't need to take this into consideration anymore. So price came down. I'm just going to go back a small bit again. Price came down and created another order block. Okay, this one here. So straight away I am looking for sells. Now why am I looking for sells? Well, because we had, oh, my mouse just died, sorry guys. Yeah, sorry. Fucking hell. Yeah, so we had a break of structure here. So we broke this lower low and came up, retraced and mitigated the order block in which price broke. So you could say down on 15 or 30 seconds that this caused the break of that structure. However, we mitigated it already, created a new order block and came down. So I didn't mark this one out because it did get mitigated. So what I did is I set my first position a sell stop or sell limit, not that one. Yeah, so this one here, 50% of the mitigation zone. I entered down on the 15 seconds. No, that's a lie. I entered down on the 1-minute. So 50%. I waited for price to come back up and mitigate this zone. which it did. Okay, now I set my stop loss just above this wick just to account for it, and I am in the trade. Okay, so this tagged me into the trade. At this point I took this screenshot and I sent it into the group chat. Now this is an interesting one because price not only mitigated once, but it mitigates it twice. So price had a reaction of this, it came down, broke structure here. Now this is why price mitigated this zone twice. The order block we have that broke this structure is in fact in this zone itself. So if you can see just here, we had this, you know, hammer candle which caused 1, 2, 3 large engulfing candles to the downside. Price came back up, reacted off that, making two equal highs, and in which case you could have entered this trade once I sent it in, because price came back up to the entry point to then continue down. So if we play it off, price comes down, I also mark out another order block on the 15 seconds that caused the break of structure down, breaking these triple lows, which would be in the form of liquidity as well. Now you're going to see this trend line I have marked out here. I'll explain that in a second. So price comes down and hits our take profit. Okay, now let me explain this. This here would be a downtrend mitigation or downtrend liquidation zone. So there'll be a lot of liquidity sitting behind here. So you know, we have like standard traders, they might have sell limits here, they might have, you know, entering to take a trade here. Price is respecting the zone, and that's absolutely fine. Price does that. So first off, we have a first trade we entered at 6:12 in the morning and we are out at 7:45. So just over an hour and a half we have secured 8.7, or I think it was a bit more than that. I think it was 9 or I got, or I can't remember, to be honest. So I'm going to delete that right out of our first trade. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Prices continue to make bearish order flow. If we go down to 30 seconds, we can see that price made a V-shaped recovery and made some equal highs. Okay, now back up to the 1 minute. Okay, you don't need the 30 seconds. It's not something that you need. So price starts ranging. Okay, at this point I took another screenshot, mark this as a potential sell zone, obviously because we have an order block here which pushed down, broke this structure. Price continues to range. Now I did talk to a guy in the group chat who mentioned, I think it would have been this one here as a potential order block. Now let me tell you why I wouldn't take this trade. Okay, price did break this structure, price broke here, and then price broke here. You could also say that there's a lot of imbalance up here as well, which, you know, could probably need to be corrected and whatnot. Okay, so on the 15 second, I'm sure you have an order block here which gets mitigated straight away. I'm not looking for a sell up here. Price got mitigated from an order block up here which continued to fall down, so I wouldn't be looking for sells up in this zone. However, you could mark this as a valid order block, but I don't think I did. So why I wouldn't have entered that trade is because the bearish momentum is far too much to be even considering buys. Okay, and what I want to do is, yes, price came up and broke structure, right, entered back into the order block. Okay, now I wouldn't enter the trade straight here. What I would want to see is another break of structure, price coming down, then to mitigate that zone again. Okay, and potentially another break of structure. So we want to see bullish order flow in play before we even consider taking buys. Now what would be a confirmation entry for me is if price did this, created bullish order flow, but then came down to sweep liquidity from this potential trend line that's forming, then came up again, mitigated off that zone, in which price, you know, came back up after catching liquidity. Now if price came up and broke this piece of structure, even though it didn't break this structure, I would enter off the order block here. So you are more than likely this would be a confirmation entry. Not only did price break structure here, it created bullish order flow, grab liquidity, buy side liquidity, or sorry, sell side liquidity, and then we would enter off this order block to then continue up. Now that's not what price did. Okay, price came up, ranged for quite some time. Yes, we had a break of structure here, but price continued to fall. You don't want to get into trades too early without any sort of confirmation or reason behind your trades. That's just me. I know people like to take risk entries, but you know they're called risk entries for a reason, and you are taking a risk here. You're playing with your money. So anyway, after that's explained, price, bam, okay, came down and broke our equal lows, or our range, broke out of our range. Now, what I have here is a order block marked out. Now, why would I sell off this order block without any sort of structure or liquidity being grabbed beforehand, like I just explained for the bullish entry? Well, this is because price is already in a bearish market. We have confirmation zones everywhere we go. You know, price, you know, is creating chalk, is in a downtrend. It's respecting each order block being formed. Like this is mitigating that order block, that's mitigating that order block, that's mitigating that order block, and so on and so forth. So we don't need a confirmation entry. Now, by all means, if you trade that way, you can absolutely wait for a confirmation entry. You can do that. There's no problem with that. But I'm going to show where I entered my second trade now. So I have this zone marked out. I took a before and after of this as well, sent it into the group chat. I think another guy capitalized. I think a few people capitalized on this trade. It was a pretty obvious trade to enter. So I set my sell limit here. Stop loss just above this wick. Always account for the wicks, because there's nothing worse than setting a stop loss here on a 15-second order block for it then to go up and continue to fall down. So that's not what we want, okay? So you could say this would be a mitigation of that zone, but you know it's not fully there. So yeah, so price then comes up, mitigates that zone. Look how close we were to being stopped out. Price, you know, came up and mitigated this zone to the full, okay? We had our stop loss just here above this wick. If you had it just, you know, went down to 15 seconds, you know, sort of mark this zone as a potential like break of structure, you would have been stopped down in seconds. Okay, so this is why you always, you know, don't, like 1 pip stop loss, don't go fucking mad with your 0.2 pip stop losses or your 5 pip stop losses. You know, be realistic. 1, 2, 3 pips. I don't usually trade if I have a 3 pip stop loss, just because, you know, 10 pip gain is what, 3% of the account. It's not really worth it. You wanna be in and out with great results. So we're now in this trade, okay? And what happens is price created another order block I have out here. So we have a little morning star there, and we break more structure. So we could say this price broke these equal lows or lower low, and you know, comes up, didn't mitigate off the zone, that's perfectly fine. Comes down, creates another order block here, in which broke structure here and here also. Creates a small little downtrend. Price seems to respect in this, so I just mark this as liquidity. Some people won't. That's completely up to you. It's not that obvious. It's not that, you know, it's just substructure. So price comes down, breaks this form of breaks this piece of structure. So this would be a valid order block up here, and then breaks this piece of structure here. So we have 3 valid order blocks here in which price could return to. Now I think at this stage I just turned off my laptop and just chilled out, and I went out for a bit. So I was off the charts at this point. I couldn't tell you what happened, to be honest with you. I didn't come back to the charts. I just helped out a few people in the group chat, explained my thought and process behind, you know, their analysis, and I always ask questions. I don't, like, if you send me an analysis, I'm gonna always ask why. You know, I'm not being a prick about it. I'm just, you always have to have a reason, and if I disagree with your reason but your reason is valid, that's perfectly fine. You do, like, I don't know where, like, your analysis is your analysis, but if you just taking trades for the fun of it, you're gonna lose money. So let's see. I actually don't know. Let's see if price returns to any of these zones after being broken. So let's just see. So price, here we have a potential bullish bearish reversal into a bullish zone. We are creating somewhat bullish order flow. So broke structure, came down, mitigated. Broke structure, came down, mitigated. Broke structure, didn't mitigate. So we are, you know, creating some higher highs and lower lows. But you know, this is on the 1 minute. This could only be a short term, you know, retrace, if you call it. So let's see if price comes back to our zone. Okay, so straight away I'm looking at equal highs. Okay, now I didn't trade this today. I don't know what happens there. I didn't look at the markets. I just, like, I'm just sort of done now for a while. I've made what I need to make. So anyway, we have equal highs, liquidity sitting up here. Price would make sense for price to come up. Oh wait, sorry, I did mark this out earlier. I remember now, and I sent it to someone just after marking out these equal highs. So we have liquidity sitting up here, and we also have another block here. So this would be somewhat of a confluence because we need to grab liquidity in order to come down, and we also have another block up here. Okay, so price grab liquidity, came into our zone. We could have entered this trade. I didn't enter this trade now. Could have entered here. Stop loss just above the wick for a 0.8 pip stop loss. I would have set my take profit just below this low. That's a 10-hour return. You could have had a 10-hour return in seconds. We entered this trade at 10 past 12. Hits at 12:15. You could have had 10 or 10% of your account in 5 minutes just from bit following one order block. Okay, now don't get too greedy and like go for a fucking 19, 20, or you know, be in and out, in and out, in and out. Now why would I say that? Well, because you know, we do have a trend line down here which price seems to be respecting, so you don't want to gamble even though it's no, you know, trend line stuff aren't part of the strategy. You just don't, like, they are somewhat a confluence and they are there, and people do trade them for a reason. So don't, you know, say, oh, this is trend line, it's going to break, trend lines don't work, blah blah blah, because they do. So just in and out, target this bottom low and you're done. So let's see what happens now. This price comes up, grabs more liquidity. Okay, now I don't know if price continues to go up. It could be just mitigating the zone that pushed price to break this high, sorry. So we delete that. That's exactly what it did. So we just mitigated the zone, created an equal low, and yeah, so price just continues to go up, drops a bit. So bam, if you had to enter off this, you know, their entries are left, right and center, guys. You know, there's nothing hard about where to enter. You just have to be vigilant, and you need to know what you're doing, why, you know, the market's moving the way it is, and you know, you'll be absolutely fine. Just don't be jumping in trades because you need to jump into trades. Like, that's the biggest mistake you can make. Now look, prices, we're filling this imbalance, coming up to our zones we have marked. You know, it wicked this zone we marked previously. I probably would have entered a trade here, yeah. Maybe refine it down a bit. But yeah guys, so that's pretty much it from today's trades, the 6th of October. You know, I appreciate everyone who's sending in their, you know, charts and stuff like that. EURUSD seems to be popping. It seems to be the only one that's active. Mainly because I don't trade any other pairs. I used to trade gold a lot, but I just don't trade it anymore. It's too volatile. Doesn't really respect how I want to trade, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah guys, I appreciate it, and yeah, good luck, peace.